What up, Sky? I know I've been here for like hours already, so but
It's cool, man.
for
Day in the
this,
life.
yeah, pretty much. For the sake of the internet, I just want to say what's up, man. Thank you for doing this,
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I
bro.
really do.
I'm gonna be a little rusty, so I haven't done this in a while.
Nah, it's cool, man. Honestly, I don't really do interviews like that either. So like,
Word.
it's like different.
It'll
Not
probably be
that.
short and a little awkward, but
Nah, it's all right.
All right, so Sky, tell us about yourself. What it is that you do.
All right. Well, to introduce myself again, it's your boy Sky Kemp. I'm a audio engineer, producer. I pretty much do anything for the music industry except rap. Because honestly, I can't rap to save my life.
Why not, man? You ever give it a try?
Yes, actually. I don't have any tracks out though, but like I've tried it, and like just getting in the booth just doesn't really work for me. I don't know if I just don't like the way my voice sounds, or like
Gotcha.
maybe sometimes I can't put a complete thought together as far as bars. I prefer to be like behind the boards, be the one that like coordinates everything, make sure it sounds good.
Yo, you shouldn't have said that, man. Now I'm gonna try and get some bars out of you eventually.
Maybe one day, maybe one day.
Set up. So, how'd you get into doing music?
Back in, let's say, it was right before I graduated high school. I want to say 2011. It was my boy. We were on the basketball team. Shout out to Mike Hardy. I don't know if you guys have heard of him. He's another Jersey artist. He would always be like rapping in the locker room and stuff, and always getting everybody to check out his music. And I was like, oh, this is cool. And that's actually when I started to try out rapping myself. And we would like freestyle in the locker room and stuff. Or me and my boy Robin, we would freestyle in the English class because my English teacher was just mad cool. And he was also the basketball coach, so we just did whatever we wanted. And then I realized that rapping really wasn't for me. so I learned how to produce, learned how to make beats. Kind of got into engineering a little bit, like just kind of learning like the basics of how to record somebody. And then like as I grew up, I ended up going to school for it. And once I was in school, I just realized how much like I really like loved like not even the production side of it, but like the recording and the mixing and just like being locked in a room by myself and just listening to different sounds. Like that's what like hits the most. That's when I feel the most at home, is when I'm like in front of the boards by myself.
Oh yeah. Like, okay, so we both came from skateboarding, and
Yeah.
how obsessed you get over it. Like,
Still
you're
am.
fully built in it. Would you say that mixing engineering is one of those things that you kind of just fully jumped into?
Yeah, it was actually like the same way I jumped into skateboarding. Like all my friends used to skate, and I was the last one to pick up a board. But like I was sick of like just following them around. Like they would all be skating, and I would just be walking. So I was like, screw this, let me get a skateboard. And then got a skateboard and just threw myself into the fire, just like trying to learn how to ollie and stuff. Like the first day I got it, because I didn't want to be left out. It was the same thing like with them when they started rapping. Like I didn't want to be left out. Everybody else is doing it. And I know like your parents tell you growing up, like be a leader, don't be a follower. But it's just like, not for nothing. You see all your friends doing something. You don't want to be the only one in the group. Like, I'm not going to do that.
Me too, man.
This guy's lame.
Yeah. What would you say is your favorite thing about mixing and engineering?
Mixing and engineering. My favorite thing is really like the joy I see in like a client's like face and just overall attitude, like when they see where their song started, and then after dealing with me, because sometimes we'll be in the studio for a couple months, just fine tuning little things, because if you think I'm a perfectionist, some of these rappers and artists that I deal with are perfectionists too. So like sometimes we'll butt heads. There's like a lot of emotions and stuff that go into it. But the end product is always just like such a beautiful moment. It's like a sigh of relief almost, but like a good sigh of relief. Like, yo, we really did this. And it's like, it's an accomplishment, like sometimes those records can turn into plaques. They can turn into Grammy nominations. They can turn into something even bigger. And then you always have that moment in your head of like finishing that project. And yeah, you just have that, it's a good feeling.
Would you say that there's any hurdles in that?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like if I didn't record something myself, like there's almost like a barrier when you get stuff from other engineers. So like if I get a mix from somebody who recorded at a studio, somebody could record something all the way in like Florida or something and just send it over. But it's like sometimes they don't get the gain structure right. Their preamps might be too high. It's the little things that make my life more difficult. I mean, I don't mind it because I love doing what I do. And that just leaves me more time to sit in front of the computer and just shut myself out from the world, close the blinds and, and just be in here. Yeah. But like, sometimes it's just like an uphill battle. It's just like, I really wish people paid attention more in school so they could have learned the right way to do this.
Yeah.
But it's all right.
Dude, I look at what you do and it's like I get hyped. It's like, yo, you get to meet all these different artists, like different people that are creating in the same way that you do,
Yeah, like I would say that this road, just being in different studios, has definitely taken me to new heights. I've met so many different people, from like well-known hip-hop artists to important A&Rs in the industry, people that work for different labels. So like going out and networking is always the biggest thing in this industry, because you could be a good engineer, but if you don't get your name out there, then like you're just gonna be stuck working with like local artists. And ask any engineer, this is not like, working with the local people is good because you can build somebody up to be the next big thing, but at the same time, like, you gotta eat. And like the money comes from those big label sessions. The money comes from working with those people that are already the next big thing. That's always the goal. Is working towards the next hit.
All right, so like you literally just touched on it, but how important would you say is working with like a local scene and keeping that sense of community around?
Well, I love having a sense of community because it's just like one hand washes the other. If I do good for somebody, if I do a good mix for somebody who is like known well locally, then they'll put my name out there, and that gives me more clients and more people to work with. But then that also, like, I can use the people on my side and my production company, and we can help promote that artist. So that goes into creating somebody into being possibly the next big thing. Like one of the projects and artists we're working on now is my man Chad B. He's got like a decent following himself before he started working with us. But now he's shouting us out as we shout him out, and we're building together. And it can go from being like, if you ever hear of like Alex Toomey or like Young Thug, like those kind of dudes, like Alex Toomey and Young Thug came up from working together in Atlanta over at Red Bull Studios, where Young Thug wasn't really known, Alex wasn't really known, but if you ever heard the song Best Friend, that was like one of the first songs he ever mixed, but that was also Young Thug's first platinum record. So it's just like, it's kind of crazy the way things work. You never know who's going to blow up in this industry, so it's always good to stay humble and keep your options open.
So what keeps you going every day? Like, I understand putting food on the table.
Oh, yeah. Well, that, and providing for my family, me having children and just wanting to make sure that they're good.
Yeah.
But then on top of that, just the love of music. Like, even growing up in church, like I would always sit with my cousin. He played the organ for my church, and I would sit with him sometimes while he played the organ. Or like we had the sound guy in the back who ran the sound. Sometimes I'd sit back there with him and watch him use the boards. So I always had a love for music, but I just never knew where to get started. And I guess it took the motivation of like everybody around me wanting to be a rapper and wanting to be in the music game to be like, all right, well, I should tap in on this too. And it made me realize that I have like a lot of untapped potential. There were things that I learned about myself from just, exploring and learning new things.
Would you say that
in the music industry?
Well, you said you explored it, but would you say that there was ever anyone that pointed you in a right direction, or was it kind of just something you figured out?
For sure, yeah. I mean, obviously, my teachers through school, especially through college, and then outside of college, I met a really good friend of mine now. I would call him a brother. Is my friend Lorenzo. He's the head engineer over at Quad Studios in Manhattan, and he works with like all the big name artists. Like he's worked with the Migos, Trey Songz. He's worked with Black Bear. The list goes on. He actually just got nominated for his first Grammy a couple months ago. Like when I first got out of school and I was interning over at there's a gentleman named Monstar. He has a studio in his house, and I was interning over there. Lorenzo used to be over there a lot too. So I would always just kind of watch him while he was mixing and kind of get points from him. And then it got to the point where he would take me to the studio. He would take me with him over to Quad, and we would sit down and he would show me like mixing techniques. He would show me how to use like the compressors and all the boards and everything. And then just, he taught me the business aspect of it too.
Is that dude Monstar WMC?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. All right, so what would you say is next for Sky?
Next for me? Well, we just opened up our new studio in Rahway. Well, let me not say just opened up. It opens up on Thursday. But we'll be officially open to business on Thursday. And the next big thing for me is just making a name for us in the scene around New Jersey. So when I say us, I mean me. I mean my company, Big Camp, that I also run with my boy Big Italy Productions. Shout out to him. And just turning that into like our home base and like really making it something like big, because there's no big studios in New Jersey. You have like Quad, you have Premiere, you have Manhattan Beach. That's all in New York City. Then you come to Philly and you have like HDE and you have Milk Studios, but there's nothing in between. So I want Big Camp Studios to be like that. Whenever somebody's in Jersey, they're gonna come to us.
Yeah. It's good to hear, Sky. Yeah, man. I'm excited to see what's next, bro.
Word up.
Gotta wrap this up. I appreciate you for doing this, my dude.
Yeah, anytime, man. I appreciate you.
Thank you. All right, guys, we're out.